No idols. This is, in essence, the second command. The first commandment says, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." Number two is, "Thou shalt not make any graven image." And I didn't really point this out up to this point, but basically, Deuteronomy chapter 6 all the way through chapter 25 of Deuteronomy is an exposition of the 10 commandments, something very similar that we saw in Exodus 20. Right after Exodus 20, you were given particular laws for the Israelites in their time on how they should apply those 10 commandments. And in Deuteronomy, we have this in an extended format, chapter 6 all the way to 25. So from chapter 6 to chapter 11 is really focusing on that commandment that you shall have no other gods before me. Number one rule, no other gods. And we saw language about love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind and all your strength. We saw the Shema in chapter 6. Starting in chapter 12 and chapter 13 are focusing on how to worship God. And in particular, we know the second commandment says, "You shall not have any other idols. You shall not make any graven image." You must worship God the way he tells you to. So chapter 12 and chapter 13 is applying the second commandment to the Israelites. So as we read this, this is the brain we've got to put on. Number one, as I pointed out in sermon last Sunday, is that remember the primary purpose of the law of the 10 commandments is to help us realize that we ain't perfect. We are not good. We cannot be good enough to earn salvation. It is to tell us that we are sinners. The second use of the law, the second purpose of the law, is to tell us and to encourage us to live rightly. And we'll be looking at this over the next three sermons that we'll have as we'll walk through each of these 10 commandments. So as you read Deuteronomy 12 with me, we can see how God told the Israelites to apply the second commandment to them. For us now, as we read this, we can say, okay, how can we utilize the same principles of application that God gave the Israelites? How can we do that in our own cultural context? One clear thing is that there is no temple in Jerusalem for us to go worship at. And so what does that mean for us? How do we apply that to our context? Because God is going to tell them that they need to worship God at the place that God tells them to. So we'll look at that as we walk through this chapter. Do encourage you that if you've not already read this, pause it, read the chapter, and see if you can find a space. What I'm going to focus on is an orange commandment in verse 3. "You shall tear down their altars, dash in pieces their pillars, and burn their Asherim with fire." Basically, when you come into the land, make sure you destroy their idols and you destroy their pillars and their altars, and do not worship the way they did. Do not worship in the manners that they worship, because they did not worship the true God. So you do not need to take the practices that they used to worship false gods to worship the one true God. That's what God is telling the Israelites: tear down the altar. So I think in our life, we got to wonder with our own practices and the things that we do, what idols are in your life? Or what are ways that you're worshiping God in the ways that you probably shouldn't? Number one, plain, we have Hebrews is the encouragement that we should meet together to worship. You should go to church when the church gets together to worship. And so if you neglect the assembling together, in reality, you're violating the heart of the second commandment. "Thou shalt have no idols before me." You're not worshiping the God, or you're not worshiping the great God the way he has told us to. We're going to keep on going to see this played out anymore. We see it played out more. In verse, I feel like I have so much to say. Maybe I should slow down. Verse 5 said, God tells the Israelites that they should seek the place that the Lord your God will choose out of all your tribes to put his name and make his habitation there. So the application of the second commandment for the Israelites is that when Jerusalem is chosen, when the place of the temple is chosen, that is where you need to go to offer sacrifices. You don't do it just all over Israel. You need to do it in the central location that God has chosen. Verse 8, we have a command here: "You shall not do according to all that we are doing here today." everyone doing whatever is right in his own eyes. And the book of Numbers is full of the Israelites not worshiping God the way that they're supposed to and not obeying the way that they're supposed to. And he goes through talking about what they do when they come into the land. Verse 13, take care that you do not offer your burnt offerings at any place that you see. No, you need to go to the central worship location. Again, this is the application of the second commandment. Thou shalt have no graven images. You must worship me not through an idol or with an idol, as some of our Christian denominations will do now. No, you don't use images to worship the Lord. No, you need to make sure that you are worshiping God, not offering your burnt offerings at any place you see. You must do it in the way that God has prescribed, an application of the second commandment. Verse 15 seems like an odd little command, but God is clarifying to the Israelites that they can slaughter their meat in any of their towns. They don't have to bring it to the temple and sacrifice the animal. What they're saying is that as long as the animal is not sacrificed, you can kill it and eat it. You can do it according to the blessing of the Lord your God that he has given you. Again, this understanding that the killing of an animal is uniquely tied to how the Israelites are to worship the Lord. Verse 19, take care that you do not neglect the Levites as long as you live in your land. These ministers that were supposed to be teaching them the law, were supposed to be operating the sacrifices and helping the priests with the sacrifices. The Israelites need to make sure that they took care of them. Verse 21, if the place that the Lord your God will choose to put his name there is too far away from you, then you may kill any of your herd or your flock which the Lord has given you, as I commanded you, that you may eat within your towns whenever you desire. Again, if you're close to the temple of the Lord and you're going to you're going to slaughter your bull and you're going to eat it as a great meal. Moses is essentially saying, God is essentially saying, if you're close to the temple, take it there, offer the sacrifice there, and then use your privileged position of being close to the temple, offer that sacrifice, and then eat it in a nice and wonderful holy place. But if you live far away, you can still eat your cows. You just eat them in a way that is not a sacrificial way. You eat it, you kill it, and then you eat it. You enjoy the things that the Lord has given you. And then finally, we have a warning against idolatry. They are told, again, remember, this is a application of the second commandment. Thou shalt make no graven images. You shall not make an idol. He says, take care that you be not ensnared to follow them. Follow what? The nations whom you go in to dispossess. If you go in and follow them and do what they did, then you will find yourself in great trouble. So our great question for us is, how are we not following God's commands? How are we not operating? And when we look at the Ten Commandments, for us that are believers, the Ten Commandments is not a way to justify ourselves. The Ten Commandments are actually more a test to show us how are we lacking in what God is doing in our life, and we then turn to Jesus and look to him for strength to change those areas. It's not that we try to work harder and do better. No, it's that we reach out for the grace that he gives to us as we see him naturally changing our hearts. Again, these are things that I will be focusing on in our Sunday morning sermons, the next three, looking at each of the Ten Commandments and saying, how can we as Christians utilize the Ten Commandments in a way that does not go against us trying to justify ourselves? Because that's going to be the great error, is that we're going to take the Ten Commandments in a way try to earn our salvation or perhaps keep our salvation. But the law will never justify, and the law actually will never sanctify either. It doesn't make you more like God. But there is a way to use the law that helps us. Hope I've not utterly confused you. But I pray that has been a blessing to you. And I'll see you in the next video.